We've had dog barking, we've had baby screaming, and also a pizza delivery guy saying hello. So we've had the lot.
All right.
So it's okay.
Yeah, because usually I go in my garage where my gym is and close the door, but the dogs want in if I do that. So if I leave it all open, they won't whinge. But if there's someone knocking at the door or they hear something, or who knows, they're fine for the time being.
That's all good, dude. That's all good. Talk to me about Tokyo, man.
Yeah, it was a weird one. Been a long time in the making as well. Obviously, with my first qualifying competition for that was back in 2018. A few months after the Commonwealth Games. So it's been, that span over 5 years. So I was glad that it went ahead. Obviously, we had that year where it was a bit up in the air. So for me to be able to tick that one off to say that I've been to the Olympics, it was good. Performance-wise, wasn't the best. I feel like having such a massive lead up and having to maintain a peak for a year after it was postponed was a little tough. But at the end of the day, it was more so about going there. And then doing everyone proud back home, just having a good time, really. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, definitely, man. Like, the situation with this year's Olympics is obviously a hell of a lot different, right? But just like the tenacity showed by every athlete that went, every coach, everyone involved, of being like, okay, well, we've kind of been dealt a shit end of the stick time and time again, and you're still able to show up and put in a performance on the highest stage possible. It's insane. And like, you should just fucking hold your chest high, mate. That's incredible.
Yeah, I would have been happy to lift in a basement over there. I didn't really care where it was as long as it was on. I was going to be there and lifting. So no, it was a good experience. Even though it wasn't, at capacity crowd or whatever, I could still feel the enormity of the event anyway, regardless of who was there in person. So it still felt like a big event to me.
At the end of the day, you win the Olympics, man.
Yeah, exactly.
And lifted at the Olympics, like, that's insane.
Yeah.
What's that feeling like, man?
To be someone who's represented at the Olympics?
Yeah, like,
it's hard. It's it's something that I'd wanted since I was 5 years old. My goal in life was to go to the Olympics, but it wasn't exactly for weightlifting. It was actually for long jump or 100-meter sprint when I was a kid, because I was massive into athletics. Alongside rugby league. So it was kind of, I want to make the NRL or I want to go to the Olympics. Somewhere along the line, I kind of drifted off from the track and field kind of thing as you get into your teenage years, and then found weightlifting at an older age, at the age of 21. So somehow rekindled that flame just by chance, I guess, and then just so happened to achieve that dream that I wanted since I was a kid. So I don't know. It's still something that sinks in. I got my Olympic tattoo on my arms, somewhere where I could see it, so I could remind myself, especially in training, or if I'm going through harder times, that I could reflect back on that.
Wow, like accomplishing a goal since you were 5, and then picking up a new spot at 21. Like, people would, like, anyone would look at it and be like, "Wow, 21? Nah, you're done. There's no chance."
Yeah. Well, it was something when I first started. Obviously, I didn't have that as within close to the realm of possibilities. But it's a weird thing, isn't it? Where they kind of say, "Oh yeah, you're too old to do this. 21, you got no chance." I made the Commonwealth Games within 2 years of weightlifting, and then another couple or so for the Olympics. But I guess it's the first thing that I've like truly applied myself, full time for. I think when you're efficient with your time and truly give it your all, you can make up for a lot of lost time anyway. So
I think so too. And as the techniques of training, recovery, nutrition, coaching, and everything, right, and all that improves, and sport science improves, like the lifespan of an athlete is going to improve too. Granted, with the contact sport, that's a different kettle of fish, but weightlifting is not a contact sport. We throw bars above
I
our heads and drop them.
yeah, I did enough of rugby league growing up to know that I had some drawbacks after 15 years of it. But
Yeah.
I guess it probably helped in terms of had some carryover to weightlifting anyway. I think in terms of power, in terms of grit, I feel like. But my shoulders probably didn't deal with it all too well starting weightlifting.
Yeah. What position did you play with rugby league?
Hooker was what I ended with. I was a bit of a utility growing up, and then ended up hooker for my last couple of years. So in the middle with the big boys.
Yeah, my brother played
I'm not
league.
the biggest boy, so. Oh right, okay, yeah, it's a good game.
Yeah, he played league, and I ended up playing union. So I was the traitor.
I've never really dipped my toe in union. I don't know why. I've had a few friends that did. I guess it was just that was what was popular around me.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those where you kind of fall into the cold. It's more of a freak accident because I'm from Manchester, right? So you've got all the northwest of England is all the league clubs. We've got like London Broncos and maybe like Hull KR. And other than that, obviously you got the Toronto Raptors, which have now come in. I don't know whether they're still in or not, or whether they've just sacked that off because of the travel. But everything's in the northwest, so it was kind of really weird that I ended up playing union, and went down that route. But I was a swimmer, and someone just gave me a rugby ball and was like, "You're now going to play this sport called rugby." And I was like, "Okay, what do I do?" Like just hit another fella. I'm like,
a little different from swimming. Yeah.
Run into people. Don't drop the ball.
Funny.
Yeah, man. Like, what did the training look like for leading up to the Olympics?
I had tried to be a lot smarter with my training going into the Olympics as I did for the Commonwealth Games. Commonwealth Games, I train 11 sessions a week, 6 days a week, Sunday off. And then after that, found a new coach, tried to change up my game a little bit. I think I was not training very smart back then because I had that thing in my head where I started late and I needed to catch up for lost time. So I went a bit too crazy, ended up burning out. Not long before Commonwealth Games, and then switched it up to training, 5-6 sessions a week, just much bigger training, being more efficient with what I'm focusing on, trying to focus on my recovery a bit more. Definitely a better approach. I lifted more weight than that. So that was kind of the routine I was following. And it was going well, but I had a lot of injuries along the way, which made that last year really tough to try to maintain and lift, at my best. So although I got 6 out of 6 lifts at the Olympics, I was, 11 kilos off my best total. So I had a few hip issues. In start of March this year, I crushed my middle finger from the bottom of my nail bed up on a set of jerk blocks and weights doing push press. Had one side of a loaded bar roll off, and then the metal bar and the metal jerk blocks just caught my finger in between. So had a completely mushed finger for a bit there. I needed plastic surgery to fix that. So that took a couple months out of my training, which wasn't great. But had its ups and downs. But I guess that's kind of the story that everyone goes leading into a major competition. Kind of makes it more satisfying when you make it through to the other end.
Yeah, that's it, right? Like, we can sit here and speculate of like, it wasn't plain sailing going in, but point to me an athlete or name me an athlete that had plain sailing going into a competition, and you'll probably name the same athlete who like half-assed it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Everyone has their own story. No one gets the perfect run leading into a comp. So no one's ever alone in that regard. It is what it is.
For sure. What other injuries did you pick up apart from? Was there any more?
I had some lingering hip issues. So I had trochanteric bursitis in my left hip for about 9 months in 2019, and that was a big year. I did 5 international competitions to qualify for the Olympics. This is all just before COVID obviously kicked off, so I was traveling around a lot. Didn't have any time to rest, any injuries. It was kind of like comp, half a program, comp half a program. So I kind of had this lingering hip issue, which, diminished my strength as the year went on. So I was going from, clean and jerking 170 to only being able to front squat it just for one rep by the end of the year. Considering I was able to do that for a set of 7 at the start of the year. So it kind of wore on me. Then had a bit of time off. COVID hit, lockdown hit. Trained really good after resting my body, had no injuries. And then I had a competition where I hit, massive PB total, and then had the right hip flare up with bursitis, and that lasted, for over a year again. So it was just annoying little injuries that lingered on because I didn't give the chance to, rest properly. So nothing major, obviously, apart from my finger. But yeah, after the Olympics finished, I had 2 months off, which is the most rest I've had from any sporting or exercise ever, which was really good to finally relax after so long. So now leading into Birmingham, I can go a bit more of a relaxed approach, not trying to be so manic and trying to, peak all the time.
What was that like mentally of clearly like the highest level athlete you could be, right? You're an Olympian, for Christ's sake. Like, what's that like taking that much time off? Like, for example, we had lockdown or whatever, and I had no gear. And it was the most time I've ever spent out of training. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm going crazy, and I'm not even comparable. You know what I mean? So I don't know what it'd be like being at the top of your game and kind of just taking that time off. Like mentally, what are you going through, man?
Well, post-Olympic, having the 2 months off, it was great. I had no motivation to pick up a bar. I just waited until I felt like I was ready. With my finger injury, when I had, almost 2 months where I couldn't pick up a bar, because obviously it was my middle finger that I crushed. I couldn't hook grip anything. I couldn't grip on anything. So that took a lot out of my training. And then the pressure of the Olympics obviously coming up in a few months, and me not being able to hook grip a bar, mentally that wasn't the greatest, because I'm like, I'm going to go to the Olympics and not be able to pick up a weight. And I could barely even front racks. I couldn't really squat very well. I couldn't pull or do anything. So that one definitely had an impact on me. But as the weeks went on and I kind of progressed, I just kind of worked with what I had, and then tried to shift my mindset from not trying to focus on the numbers, just trying to focus on having fun at the competition itself. Because I wasn't exactly going to win a gold medal. I was going to come what I was going to come regardless. So I just wanted to put on a good show for everyone. Whether or not it was a PB or not, it didn't really matter at the end of the day.
What weight category?
73.
Like, it's funny the males field, right? Because it's so fucking sparse. Like, you go from here all the way over, and you're like, oh, okay, you're throwing those kilos above your head. All right, wicked. You're beating me by like fucking 30 kilos or whatever. It's no longer a game of inches, and it's. No. I mean, we all know the reasons why, but it just makes the competition different.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially for us, clean countries at the Olympic level. It's not really something that you even focus on in terms of, winning a medal. Obviously, there are outliers who can do well, but for the majority of us, it's tough. You don't even put medals in the realm of possibilities. We kind of just think of, making the Olympics as the goal, and then medaling at the Commonwealth Games as a big event to medal in. I guess as the tides shift and we focus on more anti-doping measures, plus other anti-corruption measures, I guess as the years go on, maybe the tide will turn a bit. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, like it's a real hard one, right? Because if people are put on a pedestal and their entire livelihood depends on it, then you can kind of understand. But at the same time, you're like, wait, hold on. Like, cheating is not the way to do it. And if you're playing by one set of rules and we're playing by a different set of rules, like, it's no longer a game. We're playing two different games here. And it genuinely looks like two different fucking Olympic games are going off at the same time on the males field, and it's very, very strange.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When you see some of these athletes up close, they look like racehorses. It's just it's not the same at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I can only hope that we make more advancements in that realm of anti-doping. But yeah, I'm not going to sit here and complain all day. I'm just going to stay in my own lane and then do what I can. I'm not in weightlifting just because I want a medal. I guess I'm in it for bigger reasons than that. I want to help grow the sport in my country and help motivate and inspire those around me. So that's more important to me than, a shiny piece of metal.
That's a really beautiful point, man. And, like, I fucking love the barbell and anything strength sport or anything training really, and sports in general. But weightlifting really has the center of my attention and the heart, simply because like it's there's no prejudice. You know what I mean? It's non-biased. The weight is going to feel exactly the same, or it's going to be exactly the same for everyone. Like regardless of who walks in the gym and learning a snatch for the first time, whether you are an Olympic athlete in some other sport or you are in a wheelchair, it's still going to be fucking hard. Like a snatch is hard to learn. Like full stop.
Yeah.
It's complicated as hell. And like everyone gets that first rush, right, of adrenaline and confidence, that dopamine hit when even if we throw a broomstick above their head and you just completed something called a snatch. You're just like, oh my God, that's incredible. You're like, yeah, man, that's really cool. Like that whole feeling. And obviously you can go down the whole like physiological adaptation route and everything that can help with developing through that, which is true. But it's just the confidence, man, and like the mentality of people walking in, like dragging their feet, and then the next thing you know, a couple of sessions down the line, they're like skipping into the gym and they're absolutely loving it. And the only thing that we've done is taught them how to snatch and clean and jerk.
Yeah, yeah.
I just think it's a very special thing.
Yeah, hopefully this sport kind of makes more of the forefront one day. Obviously, it's different in different countries. It's obviously not massive in Australia. But yeah, it's such a great sport. And I feel like, especially in the fitness community, not many people know about, Olympic weightlifting. It should definitely be out there a lot more. Yeah, because obviously you said the sport's very challenging but rewarding. The community, I know in my country, is great. It's a great sporting community in Australia. Yeah, so hopefully one day, it can, keep growing, which it definitely is. But yeah, it was something that I had no idea of until I was 21. Had no idea what Olympic weightlifting was. I knew it was on at the Olympics, but I didn't really look too far into it. I saw it on the highlights and then carried on with whatever I was doing. So hopefully that can be less of the case as the years go on.
Yeah, I was exactly the same until I started CrossFit. And like that's obviously helped with the whole popularity of weightlifting and aided some participation in that side, and also in the gymnastics side, and even in the bodybuilding side, pulling them and be like, hey, maybe do something that's good for your heart. But okay,
yeah, cool. Absolutely.
I'll do a little bit of cardio or whatever, and like kind of bridge the gap. Whether you like it or not is a completely separate conversation, but it has definitely done some fucking wonders for the world in the sense of fitness and the community and the whole industry. And I think I think the whole strength sports will kick off, and I think it's going to have to go into youth development first. I think it'll go into schools and like youth clubs and academies and all that type of shit. Inevitably, we live in capitalistic countries, right? So inevitably, like the grammar skills will get it first, and then everyone else will have to figure it out on the fly and all that. But I would love to see like every school have a gym, or every school have like a weight room, and every school have a strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah. We had nothing like that growing up. For me. I know there are some schools in Australia that do have gyms now, and we're talking platforms and stuff like that. We even have an all schools competition coming up not far from where I live, where we have a bunch of schools come together that do have weightlifting programs, and they all come and compete once a year against each other, and we're talking from early high school up until, graduates. So that's definitely a step in the right direction. It's growing a lot by the year. I feel like we're kicking down a lot of myths that people thought about strength training. So that's good to see.
Yeah, they look at it right, and you're like, oh, the injury rate. And you're like, no, the injury rate is literally the lowest out of all sports per 1,000 participants.
Yeah.
If we allow, we played rugby, right? I played uni, you played league. It's the same thing, rugby. We're running into each other. And if you put us on a pitch with all the other lads around and everyone's shouting, we're not going to care whether we get a head out of the way or not, is it? You've got the ball. I'm going to try and hit you to the floor. I've got the ball. You're going to do the same thing to me. So it's like we're going to allow kids to play full contact, right? Where they're going head-on-head collision and they're getting concussed at a very early age. But we're not going to allow them to lift weight in a very controlled manner. It doesn't make any sense.
The kids aren't going to come in and chuck 200 kilos on their back and try to squat it. It's going to be, as you said, with a broomstick or PVC pipe, doing some snatches and clean and jerks, maybe some plyometrics or something at the end. So it's not too impactful at the end of the day.
Yeah, and they've got to start with SBD, really, haven't they? If you can't
absolutely
squat and deadlift, take out the bench and put in a strict press, for example. You could get away with that. If you can't press a bar above your head, deadlift it or squat it, you can't snatch or clean and jerk.
Yeah, I feel like that's important to learn at a young age. I know with my experience with coaching younger kids, it's more so just technique on how to pick up something off the ground safely. Because I know when kids are of age 15, 16, whenever they join a gym, for the most part they join with no idea, and they just jump in and try to do whatever with no experience or help. So to even have that prior knowledge, up their sleeve before they start, joining a gym and doing their own thing, to know how to lift a weight, to squat a weight properly without injuring themselves, is going to go a long way.
Yeah, I think it's really important, enforcing the mechanics dictates intensity of we want to move correctly first, and then you can add the intensity after that. And having eyes on, right? Because I don't know what you were like as a kid, but you could probably show me as a kid, and then if you turned a blind eye, I'm probably going to go do whatever the fuck I wanted to do anyway. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. They've gone away now. Let's max out our bicep curls. You're like, oh, okay. Probably not the wisest of decisions.
No, that sounds like me when I first joined the gym. That's for sure.
It's everyone, right? Because we think it's going to get us chicks, and ultimately all it does is gets us more dudes' attention, and kind of works.
Oh, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same now, right?
It's funny, isn't it? Yeah, that's hilarious.
Those gym stereotypes. Or what was his name? It's like bro science back in the day. Those videos were hilarious.
No, I used to love the old gym and fitness YouTube back when I had no idea what I was doing. Just copying whatever The Rock was doing.
Yeah, exactly. The bodybuilding.com forums, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I used to read up on all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to train out of it got one year, it got nominated best bodybuilding gym in the Northwest. And you'd walk in, right, and I'd say 90% of the people in there are absolutely juiced off their eyeballs. And you'd go in and just it was a pretty cool environment though, because everyone would talk to everyone and help each other out and whatever. And I'd be 12, 13, trying to fucking work out. And these 6'5", absolutely yoked lads would be like, "Oh, you want to do it this way, mate?" I'm like, "All right, yeah, sound cool."
I guess that is good to see. Obviously, not the culture with all the juiced up steroid heads in there, but obviously being helpful, and not trying to be intimidating like some people do. It's not necessarily a bad thing.
That's what gets the industry a bad rep, isn't it?
Yeah,
I'd say commercial gym type. It's just all the intimidation. Yeah,
I know. It was like that when I first joined the gym. It is intimidating when you're a young young lad going in there, you have no idea what you're doing, and see all these people, grunting and groaning, trying to make as much noise as they can and carrying on a bit.
Yeah.
I could have just been in my own head as well, and they may have not been trying to peacock around the gym, but I guess you're an impressionable young kid when you first join.
Yeah, for sure. And like, we'll still have times now where it'll be quite intimidating to walk into the gym. You know what I mean? Like it's trying to bridge that gap for people who are just starting and being like, yeah, I understand how you feel, because occasionally it'll happen now. And also I've been that person who's been into the gym for the first time. Everyone's been through that. It's like a rite of passage. And it's just like kind of molding that community in a way of like, it is okay for you to come in and work out and do something that's a little bit different, right? Like a clean and jerk and a snatch. Like that's rather crazy, throwing an object above your head and squatting it.
Yeah. I guess that's what I like about Olympic weightlifting. Like I've trained at clubs where I've had people from the age of 8 to 70 training at the same time with me. And it's kind of all inclusive in that regard. Anyone comes in, does the job, everyone helps each other out. There's no egos involved because no one really wins at the end of the day with weightlifting. I really enjoy it, in that aspect.
That's so true. That's broken a memory of a conversation I had with Emma, who's one of our like international athletes who trains out at the gym I coach at, right? Now we were just working out alongside her, and we were having a conversation about snatching. And it was kind of she just turned around and was like, oh, it's really cool to see more people snatching. And if you were a fly on a wall, you'd be so confused because you're like, wait, hold on a minute. Like this is a high caliber athlete just being absolutely fired up for the fact of people snatching a broomstick or an empty bar or 30 kilos or whatever. You're like, well, yeah, because people are doing it. They've already broken down those psychological barriers. And it's cool to see, and all the different techers and all that. You can go down that route, but it's just cool to see, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, I've got a question. Well, I've got a couple of questions, and I'm like obsessed with people's answers because I've had some fucking crazy ones. So, what's the best life advice you've ever received?
Best life advice I've ever received. I don't know if I've had any real advice. I've been kind of free flowing from that, very young age. I haven't had any, like my parents never forced me to do anything. It's always been do what I want on my own accord. So I've always, fallen down myself, gotten back up and done whatever I wanted really. Best life advice. Yeah, I don't know. I've got nothing in particular that I follow. I pretty much just followed my intuition for the main part.
That's all right. Like this, intuition is definitely an important thing to have.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't had anything super strict that I've really forced myself to follow. I try to, keep a healthy mind and then just do what I want to do at the end of the day. So I don't. Yeah. Yeah.
What about
no particular motto I follow?
What about the worst?
The worst?
Yeah. This one's a funny one.
Wow.
There's been some fucking bullshit advice we've had, right?
Man, worst life advice. I've had heaps when we're talking just general. If we're talking the fitness world of bullshit advice I get given, or in terms of, following down that path of going to university, getting a job and following down that path. I don't know. What's some of the best answers you've had?
For worst,
Mm.
I've had a lot of like I'll grab people in the middle of the gym, right, and be like, "Hey, what's the worst life advice you've ever received?" I'm that guy. Well, I've had a lot of settle down, go to uni, get a good job. It's all about money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get a house. I've had a lot of that over the past week. My personal one is be realistic.
Yeah, that's a bit sad, isn't it?
Hey?
I said that's a bit sad. Just be realistic. That's what they follow.
Yeah, exactly. Like I will go back to that mentally and be like, you know, nothing is realistic.
Yeah.
Coming in and flicking a light switch and light coming on is not realistic. It is like our norm now, but someone at one time that was not realistic, that was thought of as being impossible. So all this bullshit isn't realistic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The
No,
good
that makes
ones.
sense. Yeah.
No, go on.
No, you go.
No, go on.
I was just going on that route of being realistic because I tried to follow down that path. Out of school, tried to go to uni.
Yeah.
Ended up graduating uni after a bit. With in my head that I have to do that. I have to get a job. I found weightlifting in my last year of university. So I graduated with my degree and then used that degree to just do weightlifting full time. Didn't use my degree at all. Ended up working out for me, made the Commonwealth Games, made the Olympics, ended up getting a job in my field through my sporting credentials. So that definitely wasn't realistic, but it definitely works out. If I tried to keep it realistic, my life would be a lot more boring.
Yeah, 100%, right? And it's quite weird. Like I'm very much of a thinker, right? So I'll think about a lot of things. And it's quite weird how it seems like everyone has to do the same thing. Go to university, get a job, get a partner, settle down, have a kid, have a couple, do whatever. And I'm like, wait, hold on a minute. Like we all acknowledge our own differences, right? We're all going to have past experiences. We are all different in physicality and also psychologically. So why do we have to do the same fucking thing? That doesn't make any sense. It's like we're all different shapes and we're all trying to put it into a square hole. Like some aren't going to fit in that hole. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
It's quite strange how we're all taught to do the same shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it? Yeah, because I was never told that, but it's just kind of like, guess what society does, like as the norm, right? Everyone follows down that way. Yeah, what were some of the best ones that you heard?
Oh, embarrassment is a choice.
Okay.
That one absolutely knocked me for six. Like I would never have thought of that. I just think it's so poetic in its like simplicity. Yeah, embarrassment is a choice. You dictate the energy you give out. Like, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I get you.
Perception is reality.
Yep. No, that makes sense. Yeah, I've definitely heard that one. I guess there's so many bad ones where I try to stay away from any particular lines or anything to abide by. Like starting at the gym, I always, heard the whole, be the hardest worker in the room, first in, last to leave. Everyone trying to feel like this military type lifestyle is the only way to go to be a man and to get what you want. And then that's kind of what I thought was the thing to do when I started at the gym, just to work as hard as I could and just keep headbutting against the wall, just working through hardships and not really using my brain at all. And it wasn't until as I developed being an Olympic weightlifter where I learned that was all kind of bullshit and just followed it my own way and enjoy myself along the way. I feel like a lot of people fall into that trap, whether they're lost and kind of listen to what some motivational speaker has to say on YouTube. I'm not quite sure, but
I agree, right? And there's something that Denzel Washington says is like focus on like progress, not movement, because people can move on the spot all the time. You're not getting anywhere, and like it seems like everyone's busy. Like undoubtedly now, right? Because we're connected right now. We're having a conversation face to face, but we obviously we got it through the medium of technology, right? We can talk to people wherever, and you can work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and actually be able to do that. But like being busy does not mean being productive.
Yeah, that's what that's what it seems like. People like, yeah, the idea of being busy, like they could just be doing bullshit, especially with training. People think that you just got to. I think a lot of people in the CrossFit realm might fall into that, where more is better. That was definitely something that I thought when I first started. When I train 11 times a week, more is better. I just need to train the hardest, and then I'm going to be the one that makes the teams and does all this cool stuff just because I train the hardest and want it the most. When everyone wants it, everyone trains hard, but you need to use your brain at the end of the day and not try to force yourself to be a certain way. I enjoy training, so I try to stay in that mindset that I, have fun with training, and then just enjoy the process along the way.
Totally. See, this is where this is where CrossFit ends up getting a bad rep, right? Because it doesn't say that. It says the poison's in the dose, and they go intensity over volume any day, and they do virtuosity over like score or whatever any day of the actual methodology, right? If you break this down and be like, what is it? That's what they do. And it's fantastic. Well, I could say that's what we do because technically I'm qualified through it, but not coaching out of a gym, a CrossFit gym anyway, at the moment. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So this is a problem when things develop so quickly, right? And everyone kind of jumps on the bandwagon of they'll like get the minimal qualifications to be able to open a place and then just do it.
Yeah.
And that's it. You're like, whoa, hold on a minute. Like, learning how to snatch and clean and jerk of a broomstick doesn't mean you can go to the Olympics.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, you definitely get that in weightlifting. You see a lot of personal trainers sign up and do weightlifting for 2 weeks, and then they go on and then try to teach it. That would be the same in CrossFit. Like, what are the barriers to entry to open a CrossFit? Obviously, it might be a bit harder with COVID these days, but to open your own box, like how much knowledge does someone have to have before they can just jump right in and start, selling it to their local demographic?
You need to have a CrossFit level 1. So you do a weekend class, which is Saturday, Sunday. Obviously, you need to pass that. And then you sign up and you pay $3,000 US a year for the name, the brand, the affiliate. And then you open your place.
Yeah.
Which, on the one hand, doesn't create a lot of barriers for entry, which is a good thing. But on the other hand, you can use it as a negative thing too. I've coached in fucking 1,000,001 different places around the world. A lot of them have been CrossFit boxes. Some of the best places and best coaches I have ever been around and seen have been involved in the CrossFit scene. And then also the worst ones have also been involved in the CrossFit scene. So it's very strange. Like some of them, I'm like, I don't understand how you're still open because you're fucking awful. And then the other ones, I'm like, I don't understand how you're not making millions of dollars a year because you literally are incredible.
Yeah, that's a bit sad, isn't it?
It's weird.
Yeah, if only the cream. Yeah. I guess it's all about marketing at the end of the day, isn't it? It's a hard one.
And social media doesn't help it because people with popularity definitely more dollars.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, isn't it? That's what I hate in weightlifting is how a lot of our, weightlifters who are banned for substance abuse then take the route of selling seminars and weightlifting programs after they've been banned. So they do all that gig while they're serving their ban. I hate that one. I hate that for weightlifting in the global scene, really. Yeah, because you see a lot of that these days.
Yeah, man, it's a totally different game. It's a totally different game. The whole popularity, selling yourself, personality, you are a brand, you are a business.
Yeah.
And I completely agree with it on one hand. And also, like, I'm very conflicting with it in another hand. In the side of business, you're like, yeah, makes total sense. Like, makes total sense. But on the sense of like, the other side of like, oh, we're going to help the sport grow and all that type. I'm like, are we doing it in the right way?
Yeah, well, I feel like if you're serving a ban for drugs, ethically, you shouldn't be trying to make money off the sport afterwards. I think at that point you should just get the fuck out because I I don't know how other people feel, but I guess I feel strongly about it because I'm a clean athlete who competes against other athletes who may not be. So I don't have any respect for those athletes, their coaches, or everyone involved. So I
Yeah.
guess it's just frustrating to see that. But as you said, social media marketing yourself is a big thing these days. So business wise, it's smarter them to do it. So
Yeah, that's the thing, right? And because the thing is, I could sit here, right, and be like, I completely disagree with fucking anyone taking PEDs. But at the
yeah,
same time, if I would go back in time and I'm 13 and you'd come up to me and be like, Alex, I want you to take X, Y, and Z for 5 years and you're playing the Aviva Premiership, I would have shook your hand and signed on the dotted line. I wouldn't even ask questions.
yeah,
Like that was my situation, and I was doing it to try and uplift me and my mum at the time, so then we can, make my money and get out and whatever, all that bullshit. So, there's exceptions to the rule, but at the same time, if you don't want to serve the time, don't do the fucking crime.
yeah. It's hard when especially those that don't know much better when they're younger, I guess. But if you're in the know, I don't know. I know for me, if I ever stood on a podium and accepted a medal knowing that I'd cheated, I couldn't exactly stand on there with a smile on my face. I don't know, it's a tough one. Because as you said, some countries the culture goes all the way to the top level of whoever runs the show, and they just tell them to take whatever. But yeah, even there.
But I'm massively on your side. I'm massively on the side
Yeah.
of ground up, not top down. So, like for example, winning a fucking Olympic gold medal does not mean we're gonna sort out the whole health and fitness fucking crisis of the entire country. I'm like, it's like a political game of chess. You know what I mean? It's the modern day Cold War, rather than going into schools, helping them out, going into like YMCAs, youth centers, getting people off the street, like dealing with the quote unquote difficult kids, you know what I mean? Like anger management, ADD, Tourette's, ADHD, whatever the fuck it is. And be like, no, we're going to help you because we're going to go for the source rather than, treating symptoms.
Yeah. Nah, I get you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Like, but fuck, cheats are always going to be around, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. There's no way around it. You're never going to eradicate that in any form of life, really. It's not just sport, it's anything at the top level.
Yeah,
So it's just
unfortunately.
how it is. Yeah.
What about, here's another question, 3 words you tell your younger self?
3 words. Yeah, I would say I don't know if I would say if are we talking 3 words as in 3 separate words or as one? Because I would say follow your heart is what I would say. That makes the most sense to me because I was pretty lost going into my later teenage years, going into university, following down that route just because that was the social norm. I had a massive love for health and fitness, loved the gym, loved doing everything like that. But then also, I just followed, what that societal norm was, which was go to uni, try to get a job, try to do all that things that did bore me. But yeah, I just thought I can't do anything professional down this health and fitness route because that's not realistic. So I would say definitely follow my heart because if I did that at an earlier age, it could have made a big, like I could have started weightlifting or doing something more in that realm way younger than 21. So that definitely slowed a few years of my life, going into uni as I was kind of lost in that regard.
That's beautiful. And I think that's something that everyone needs to think about more often, right? Is like, first of all, who am I? And second of all, what do I want to do?
Yeah.
And then go do that. Like rather than
it's hard to even know what you want when you're at that age. Takes a bit of self-discovery to know what you actually want to pursue. So it can be a tough one for people, but if you take the time to do it, I know I eventually found my way, but it took a few years.
Mm. Well,
Yeah,
sometimes you've got to figure out what you don't want, right? Sometimes you got to, well, a lot of the time you got to fuck up.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And then you look back at it and then you kind of cringe at the fact of what you were thinking back then. But that's all self-learning. Yeah. Happy now that I've kind of, found that path. But yeah, that would be my answer for sure.
Yeah, and like it's also being okay with that path changing as well, right? Because people are like, no, this is who I am and this is what I want to do. I'm like, yeah, granted, like at one stage of your life, life is short, but also life is very fucking long. Like you're gonna change as a person. You're not gonna be you're not gonna quote unquote find yourself at like 20, 25 or whatever, and then that's it. That's who you are for the next 75 years, because that's probably 75 years wasted and not listening to other lessons. Like it's being okay with the river meandering on down to then ultimately meet the sea.
Yeah. I guess you just need to follow your values, right? Not trying to put money or something on a pedestal and following down that route blind. Just trying to do what you think is the norm. Yeah, definitely. I know for me, I don't chase money or anything. I do what I do because I enjoy doing it. So I got into weightlifting well knowing that I was getting paid nothing for it. But yeah, I just do what I love at the end of the day.
For sure, it's it's understanding that life is a game, and you've just got to figure out the rules that you want to play the game by, and don't expect anyone else to play by the same rules, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it. That's I think we've just like put the world to rights.
For sure.
Yeah, brother, I really appreciate your time, man, and it's an absolute honor to kind of speak face to face, but as face to face as it can be at the moment.
This is as face to face as it gets these days, isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird, right?
Hopefully soon enough it'll change.
Yeah, you got to shake someone's hand, and you're like, oh, I'm literally just high fiving the screen.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Well, hopefully the bubble opens up between NZ and Oz at some point.
Yeah, I think it will, man.
I know that there's supposed to be a competition in New Zealand next year, like Oceania Championship. So whether or not that happens, I guess we'll see. I think February. Yeah, I think that's going to be the last qualifying event for the Commonwealth Games. So I guess we'll see if we can all come over or not.
That will probably be up in Auckland.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not 100% on whereabouts it'll be. We're supposed to be set up, but
I'll definitely go up and watch that. 100%. I'll be there. It's literally like an hour plane or a few hours driving.
All right. That should be good.
Yeah, that'd be super cool. Auckland's a cool place.
Yeah. I've never had the chance to go to New Zealand. I've been to so many places for weightlifting, and then just so happened that New Zealand hadn't had any competitions within my time frame of competing internationally, which is odd because I've been to some weird places. I'm just not New Zealand.
Where's the weirdest place or most obscure place you've been in?
Turkmenistan, by far. I've been there twice for weightlifting competitions, and that is a proper dictatorship over there. So yeah, the guy that runs that place, calls himself the Protector. That's what his name is over there. So yeah, it's not somewhere where you want to live.
I'd love to visit those types of places,
Yeah. Well, I'm probably the Australian who's visited there the most times, because tourists can't go to Turkmenistan. It's not a country that you can just go for a holiday. Yeah, so I was there for the indoor Asian martial arts games, and then again for the World Weightlifting Championships over in Ashgabat. Is their capital city. And then for that event, for both the events, they shut off the entire city, essentially kicking everyone out that lived there, made all their students come and then serve as volunteers for the event to kind of chaperone everyone around. So it was a bit weird to see a full city being, essentially evacuated for the event. The whole place was spotless with cleaners every 10, 20 square meters or so. There wasn't an inch of dust on the roads. It was odd, but definitely something that I'll remember.
Wow. And the thing is, like, also having one of those like scratch maps, you know what I mean, and being able to scratch that off, I think that'd be so satisfying.
Yeah, I think David Liddy has one of them, the Kiwi lifter,
Yeah.
the super heavyweight. I've seen him on his story scratching off some of the places that he's been, and he's been to a few places as well. He was in Turkmenistan, so I'll say he's scratched off more than me, but
Wow.
I would have done it. At least it was 7 or 8 countries, maybe, in my few years of competing internationally.
Wow.
It's a good way to see the world.
It's a good way to see the world, man. 100%.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
go
absolutely.
in, 6 lifts, walk around, get a coffee, a couple burgers, and go home.
Yeah, that's
It's
it.
a great life.
Right after I make weight, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. First of all, you've got to get make weight. Yeah, like the supers are the best one because it's the only one you've got to bulk to get into.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like you'd have to be heavier to kind of compete with those bigger lads because they get to about 170 something kilos. So
That's insane.
yeah, if you want to be snatching 220 like Lasha, you better eat.
Yeah, like that's insane. Like,
Mm.
and also being able to box jump like 55, 60 inches at 170
Yeah.
body weight. It doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's weird to see, but I guess that's weightlifting. Very power orientated sport.
Yeah, but what was Dave doing like in like the basement in Tokyo? He just did like a back squat double and it looked like a fucking speed rep at like
Yeah.
20,
Literally, yeah, I was gonna
whatever
say
it was.
it'd be like 300s, that's for sure.
It's unfathomable. You know what I mean? Like people don't even like you walk down the street, right? And the average person will never know what 150 kilos feels like. Like, because nothing in their world will ever weigh 150 kilos. They'll never have to pick it up. They will never have to try and move it. And most people will never deadlift it, right?
No.
Now over double that. Like people just see numbers on the screen.
Yeah, that's a tough thing with weightlifting. I don't think, the general pop, they don't understand how heavy that weight actually is on that bar. Like if you went to Lash's snatch and try to deadlift it before he goes on the platform, it'd be hard to roll that weight, let alone try to pick it up. Like you'd think it's bolted to the ground. It's insane how heavy these weights other people lift. Even the lightest categories, they're lifting insanely heavy weights for their body weight.
What's your clean and jerk snatch?
Snatch 128, clean and jerk 175.
Right. So like even the average population would try and roll 175 and they'll be like, fucking hell, what is that? You know what I mean? And then you just walk in, get underneath it and throw it above your head. They're just like, what just happened?
Yeah. I guess that's the beauty of the sport. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh, I probably wouldn't be able to roll 175 at the moment now that I've started after a 2-month break.
It was there was a fucking Uzbekistan lifter, and she was like, I want to say 20, right? Ended up PRing and clean jerk 120, and like people will watch that and be like 120 kilos. She weighs like 50 something kilos, so it's over double her body weight, and she's 20.
Yeah.
You're like, wait, what? Literally just picked it up above her head.
Youth world champs are on at the moment. And they're lifting insane weights at young ages these days in some of these countries. Yeah, I don't understand it. Yeah, when I was that age, I was trying to bench press 100 kilos, and that was tough.
Yeah. We won't talk about what we were doing at that age.
Yeah,
Probably not. Not good.
A little embarrassing.
That.
Yeah. Not wrong.
Yeah, mate. I appreciate it. I'll get over to Oz as soon as possible, probably early next year. That's in the books. And then fingers crossed Oceania is over here.
Let's hope so.
More than likely to be in Auckland, and we'll have at least one lifter from our gym going, so I will more than likely go up with her and
nice.
Give everyone a high five,
awesome.
Drink coffee and watch crazy people lift crazy amounts of weight and call myself
sounds like
coaching.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Yeah, sounds great. Like I don't have to do anything. All right, brother.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Good luck. Stay healthy. Don't crush your finger again.
No, surely that won't happen again.
Touch wood.
I hope. Yeah.
Get it now.
Touch something with my numb finger.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, mate. Take it easy.
You too.
Peace.
Catch you later.